Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for this webinar. I'm so excited to be giving you all this information. This is the first time I'm giving all of this information to you in one place. So, I'm so excited to be sharing it with you. Thank you for everyone who is joining me live today. And if you're watching the recording, thank you so much for taking that time and holding space for yourself to really dive into how your cycles can be a main support during COVID-19 and to support you through everything that's happening in the world, because grounding into our natural cycles, whether that's your menstrual cycle, the moon cycle, just grounding into the earth, all of that is going to be so important right now as we're left to not only be with ourselves, we have a little bit more time and space where we actually have to confront ourselves and everything that comes up, but it's also a time where we can use this time. Some of us have free time, some of us are more stressed, and this is going to benefit for both of those sides, either if you're super free time, not doing anything right now, or your work just got double fold. Whichever side you land on of the scale, this is going to be so beneficial because you're going to be able to learn how to balance your life, really use your cycles that are happening no matter if we acknowledge them or not, they're always happening in our body. So if we can really harness them and use them to reach our highest potential, they're going to make this time so much easier. We're going to be able to understand our anxiety better. We're going to be able to ease that anxiety, ease that stress, learn how to go with the flow, because the most beautiful thing that our cycles and the moon cycle teaches us is how to go with the flow, and how every day is a different day, and every day we're changing and growing and flowing in our feminine essence, and we're going to dive into all of that during the webinar. So with no further ado, let's get started. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. Okay, now this should be sharing so that everybody can see. Okay, so your cycles and how they can support you during COVID-19. And if at any time you can't see my screen while I'm referring to it, please just unmute yourself and call out that you can't see it. That would be very beneficial. Okay, so yeah, your cycles and how they can support you during COVID-19. First of all, before I get into this presentation, I want to explain what your cycles are. Your cycles are your menstrual cycle, which is the cycle that you have innately in your body, that you are constantly cycling with, and then once you are no longer menstruating, once you hit menopause or your hormones start shifting in perimenopause, you're still experiencing a cycle, but now you're going to be experiencing a moon cycle. So the moon cycle influences everybody, whether or not you're a menstruator, whether or not you're a woman or a man, or a creature or an animal. The moon cycle is influencing all of us. So we kind of, as women, as menstruators, we have this double superpower, because not only do we have the moon cycle that we're being influenced by, but we also have our own unique cycle that's going to look different for all of us. But there's some underlying currents that look the same, and that's what we're going to go into today. So I'm Lilia Gesson. I'm a light worker and a womb wisdom guide, and I'm an artist. And art was really how I got into being a light worker and a womb wisdom guide. It was the way I could express my voice and start talking about menstruation, and that just led from one thing to the next. After talking to hundreds of people about menstruation in my artwork, I started realizing how connected we are all in this experience, and how we're all experiencing similar things, but because it's such a taboo topic, no one talks about it. So there's such little collective information that's common knowledge, while there's so much wisdom stored in our wombs. And that's what I am now dedicating my life to, is being able to guide women and menstruators in reconnecting to Mother Earth and her divine love and support through reconnecting to their menstrual cycle and the moon phases, and grounding into Mother Nature's energy. And this work is to bring us closer to our roots and to the loving guidance of the earth beneath our feet, so that we can flow in our feminine essence and awaken our inner power and light, because we do have so much power and light stored in our womb that we just need to awaken. And now is that activation time in order to do it. Now is a great time to start awakening all of that intuition, all of that knowledge and wisdom that is stored already in your body, and that is not only going to ground you into Mother Earth, which is so important now with everything going on with COVID-19, but it's also just going to ground you into yourself and in your feminine essence, and you're going to be able to learn how to work not only with your masculine energy, but your feminine energy. So before we get into any farther into the presentation, I do want to point out what masculine and feminine energy is. The definition of masculine and feminine energy is not gendered. So while a lot of times we think of masculine as male and feminine energy as female and relate that to our bodies and our biology, it can be related to that, and very often it is, but that is not the innate definition of feminine energy and masculine energy. What these energies are is like the yin and yang in our life. It's the dualities. It's that we aren't just one thing. We have both of these energies flowing through our body and guiding us. And they both have different characteristics. And while they can be gendered when we're talking about them, this is not how I'm talking about them right now. So your feminine energy is like your flow state. It's being able to flow and tap into your wisdom and into your intuition. It's your ability to rest and to be able to say no and to be able to listen to your body. It's your emotions, it's your vulnerability, it's your sensitivity. Your masculine energy on the other side is your push energy. It's your ability to push through anything. It is your strength, and strength in the way our society sees strength, and being able to withhold and withstand a lot. So like we have that running through our body, and as women we have a lot of that running through our body. We can withstand a lot. Our physical presence can withstand a lot, going through periods, going through childbirth. Your masculine energy is also knowledge. So while feminine energy is wisdom, masculine energy is knowledge. This is also the trait of being able to be productive and be productive on the same level each day. And as women, we can have these super high periods of productivity. We can be on top of the world, and we're going to go into this, but that is not all that we are. That is our masculine energy, but we also have this beautiful feminine energy side that we can tap into to feel balanced, to feel grounded, and to actually live in a sustainable way for our body. So that's kind of a little bit background for what feminine energy and masculine energy is. And I've had a lot of people ask me before if I'm relating to being a female and being a male, and I'm not. These are just characteristics that run through all of us regardless of gender. And you may hear them at some point referred to in a gendered way, which they can be, but that's not their root definition. Okay, so today we are going to discuss your menstrual cycle. What are the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle and how do they affect your life? And then we're going to go into moon phases. How can we learn from the moon phases and work with them in our life? And then we're going to go into Mother Earth and nature, and what role does reconnecting to our menstrual cycle play in reconnecting to nature? And how can all of these cycles guide us through COVID-19? Okay, let's start with your menstrual cycle. Oh, I love this part. I had so much fun making this webinar and being like, what information do I want to share today? So the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle are menstruation, which is when you're bleeding. And this is, I guess I should preface this also. These are the 4 phases of your natural menstrual cycle. If you're currently on hormonal birth control, you are no longer experiencing these 4 phases. You are experiencing a moon cycle. So that's why we're going to touch on both. We're going to touch on the menstrual cycle and the moon cycle. So if you're on hormonal birth control, the moon cycle is what you are cycling with right now, because hormonal birth control turns off your ovulation cycle, which is what we're looking at now. But if you are menstruating naturally, then this is going to be your cycle. And if you're on hormonal birth control, this is a great thing to know and understand, because at some point, when you come off of it, if you ever decide to come off of it, depending on how you feel and what you feel is right for your body, this is going to come back at some point. So it's always good to know what your natural cycle looks like and then what your moon cycle looks like. But for anyone who is naturally cycling right now, you're going to be cycling with both the moon and your menstrual cycle. I hope that made sense. Okay, the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. Oh, and I should also point out, if you are no longer experiencing menstruation, if you are postmenopause, you are experiencing a moon cycle. So that's also going to be important. Okay, 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. So you have menstruation, which is your bleed, and then you have pre-ovulation, which is when it is your follicular phase. Your body is creating it's not creating one, you already have all your follicles, but it's growing and nourishing this follicle that's going to turn into your egg. And then ovulation is when you release that egg. And then premenstruation is when all of your hormones shift again. Your hormones are constantly shifting during these 4 phases. During premenstruation, your body starts preparing for your bleed. It recognizes that you are not pregnant, that it is ready to shed that uterine lining, and it starts preparing you for that. So the way we can look at these, and you might have heard, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or if you've just heard me talk at all, you might have heard me mention, oh, I'm in my inner spring, or oh, I'm in my inner summer. And the reason we say that is because we can relate the different 4 phases of our menstrual cycle to nature's 4 seasons. They resemble each other very closely in characteristics and traits. So when we're menstruating, we are in our inner winter. And the way we can relate this is that your bleed is your time to rest, just like how nature is rebirthing and resting in the winter. Pre-ovulation is your inner spring. All of that spring energy is rising up again. You are feeling that vitality coming back to you. You are creative. New shoots are coming out of nature. Like everything's coming alive again. Ovulation is your inner summer, just like summer when the earth is on top of the world. It's blooming, it's blossoming, it's growing, it's creating. We are the same in ovulation. This is our superwoman phase. And this is our inner summer is a lot of times the phase that we get attached to. Ourselves and others really get attached to us in this phase. So when we end this phase, it only lasts about a week. When we come out of this superwoman, I can do everything productive phase and start coming into our premenstrual phase, a lot of times that transition can be very difficult for us and those around us because we are not our inner summer woman all the time. And there's so much beauty in not being that all the time. There's so much strength and beauty in being productive and being able to be productive on the same level every day. However, there's also beauty in learning how to rest, learning how to tap into your intuition, learning how to receive those downloads and how to release. And it's so beautiful. We're going to go into that and what those superpowers are in the next slide. So autumn, your inner autumn or your inner fall is when all of this is coming back down, getting ready for winter, you know, like leaves are falling off trees, nature's starting to go dormant, everything's starting to come into this area of rest and rebirth, and we are the same way in our menstrual cycle. So your superpowers, I love this. You have such beautiful superpowers in all 4 phases of your cycle. One is not greater than the other, and when we can learn how to use all of these cycles, all of these phases together, and be able to harness the superpowers from all of them, just like imagine, you don't need to just be that superwoman on top of the world. You can be the superwoman that can tap into your intuition, that can actually rest and live a sustainable lifestyle for you and your body. Because the bottom line is that our hormones are not functioning in a way that they can function at the same level every day. We are constantly shifting in the way our hormones are, and they cannot support us in that super high energy every day. Our bodies are not built for that, and there's a lot of beauty in that. It's not something to feel discouraged about. Male bodies are cycle with the sun, so they can be on the same productivity level every day. But we have this beautiful gift of our womb and our womb wisdom, and being able to tap into that during menstruation and during premenstruation is so powerful. So your superpowers during menstruation, during your bleed, you are intuitive. This wisdom that's stored within our wombs for centuries from your mother, from your grandmother before you, all of this wisdom is stored in our womb, and we can unlock that intuition, that intuitive power that women have during menstruation. We are the most open to that. Your channel is open and you're able to receive downloads at this time. So if you are seeking any kind of, if you're trying to make like a big decision in your life, menstruation is the time to do it. You want to bleed on it because you are open to receiving guidance from your inner wisdom on what the right next step is. And if you think back in any moment of your life, I'm sure there was one moment where you just had this gut instinct that you needed to do something and you did it and it was so right and it led you to so many different things. And this gut instinct is your intuition. And when you bleed, you can really tap into this intuition. This is also a time to turn in. So while we may be social butterflies while we're ovulating, this is a time when we can actually turn in, self-reflect. We may not want to be social, and understanding that means that we can align our lives so that we don't plan to go to big parties while we're bleeding. We know that we're not going to be super social at this time, and that's okay. We need our space. Rest and release. Menstruation and your bleed is also a time to rest and release. Your body, if you think of what your body is going through when you're bleeding and shedding your uterine lining, your body is going through a lot. It's shedding the lining of a whole organ, and you're losing a lot of blood, and your body is physically working so hard to help you release all of this tissue, blood, mucus, everything is coming out of you. And we can honor that by resting and giving our bodies the support it needs in order to rest and do that without burning ourselves out. This is so important to rest during this time. And I would like to add too, if we can follow our superpowers in all of these phases, it will also diminish so many of our premenstrual symptoms and so many of our menstrual symptoms, like extreme period pain can lessen, headaches, crazy mood swings, all of this lessens when we can actually honor our cycle, because all of those are byproducts of pushing ourselves past our limits and not actually honoring how our energy flows throughout the month by trying to push ourselves too far. Just like if you think of when you get sick and you try to do it all, you usually get more sick, or you start contracting other symptoms just because your body is not in a state to handle that. So when we can actually flow with what our body is meant to handle, not only can we reach our highest potential, be more creative, be on top of the world, have rest time, we have this built-in like stress management system already built into our cycles for us so that we can live sustainably and not burn out. When we follow that, that is exactly what it is. We don't burn out. We lessen our less friendly or less beneficial symptoms, and we can just learn how to flow with our body. And it's so magical. Coming from the perspective of living my life before, not living in alignment with my cycle, and now living in alignment with my cycle, I can tell you it's a life changer. Such a life changer. Okay, your menstruation or your bleed is also a time for rebirth. You are literally emerging. Like we have this beautiful present every month of being able to start a new month, a new cycle, either with the moon or with our menstrual cycle or both. And this is a gift, and a gift to know that every month is a new month. It means that we don't need to hold on to the past. We can release, we can rebirth, we can set new intentions and come into our own again and again and again, and know that the next month is fresh. We are rebirthing into it. And that's so beautiful, not holding on to every single thing, but knowing that every month is a new start. You are also very vulnerable while you're bleeding. Vulnerability is a superpower. To be able to tap into that vulnerability, tap into your emotions is so beautiful. And this is the time to really do that. Okay, pre-ovulation. So this is your follicular phase. This is when you're getting ready to ovulate. Just think, you came out of your bleed, now all of your energy is coming back, your hormones are starting to support you. Beware, don't use all of that energy now or else you're gonna burn yourself out by the next cycle. It's kind of a game of measuring out your energy throughout the month. So you still need to be resting during this time. You still need to be taking care of yourself. Don't jump out of the gates like a racehorse. Take it slow and steady so that ovulation you can get everything done. But in this phase, you are creative. You are playful. You're spontaneous. You're taking risks. I know I'm definitely guilty of that. I take a lot of risks in my pre-ovulation because you're also very optimistic and you're like, yes, it's like everything is fresh, everything's going to be good. That can be a superpower, and it can also, I don't want to say not a weakness. It can be a superpower, or that's what I'm looking for. It can go either way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it can either be amazing or it can be a downfall. So just watching out for that too. You have better focus now after coming out of menstruation. You have way better focus in pre-ovulation. So if you have like a project you need to do for school, if you know when you're about to ovulate, that is the time to really focus on it. Your body is supporting you to do that. And you have this physical vitality. This is like when you go and you work out. This is when you go do that cardio. You want to be resting while you're bleeding, and now your body is ready to start being active again. Ovulation. So, move this so I can see it. There we go. Ovulation is your on top of the world phase. This phase feels so good. This is the phase that we hold on to and we want to be in every day. And this is the phase that makes it so that we think we're doing something wrong when we're not on top of the world, when we're not our superwoman. The reality is that we are this for about a week of our cycle, and then we have to be able to let that go and let all the other phases magic come up and show themselves in our lives. But ovulation, you are on top of the world. You are a superwoman. You are so productive. If you can learn to cycle, like arrange your life with your cycle, you are going to get so much done in this one phase, letting yourself rest in all the others instead of trying to be at the same productivity every day, because that's just going to burn you out. But if you can hold all of those major projects that you need to do to when you're ovulating, you will get it all done. This is the phase when you can stay up late, when you can do it all, when you're like in push mode. This beautiful phase. You have peak energy at this time. You're confident, you're outgoing. If you have a business meeting, this is the time to schedule that business meeting, because strangely enough, they've done some studies, and I want to mention this just because it can be helpful when you're scheduling business things. But women are, there's something very, not like physically attractive, but just you're like oozing this confidence and this strength and this optimism and this productivity when you're in this phase. And a lot of times that can be very attractive and help you close business deals. This is like a great time if you're launching a new product. This is when to do it, because people can really feel your energy in this phase. Okay, and then pre-menstruation comes, and this transition can be either very smooth for people who are, if you're an extrovert, you may feel really at home in ovulation, and then your premenstrual phase might be a very difficult transition. If you are an introvert, this transition may feel so natural and so beautiful because you get to come back into that introversion and back into yourself. So it just depends on who you are and what your unique body is for whether or not this transition from ovulation to premenstruation is smooth or a little bit more difficult or rocky. This transition used to be so hard for me, and now that I've been working with my cycle, this transition is one of the most beautiful transitions. I really love this. So in premenstruation, you become critical. So if you've ever heard of people like saying that women are crazy right before they get their period or on their period, the thing is that we're not crazy. We are able to say it like it is, and we have this discernment in this phase that is so powerful, and that I wish more people respected and listened to, because we are able to really see things that need to be changed in this phase, and that is such a power and such a strength. So you are more critical, but also beware, because that means you're also more critical on yourself. So being able to really give yourself a lot of self-love during this phase is going to be really important, and being kind to yourself and just realizing that your inner critic is there to lead you to something. It's trying to communicate something with you that either isn't wrong or that you need to do, but to maybe take away the message and not the delivery, because we can deliver that very harshly on ourselves during this phase. We have enhanced senses. All of our senses are way more enhanced. So your sense of smell, your hearing, your eyesight, like all of your sensory experiences are heightened. And I know for me, it comes through with my hearing. So during this phase right before my period, sometimes I'll have to put on headphones just to cancel out noise, because the noise is just too much for me. You become analytical in this phase. This is a great phase to do, like, instead of all those creative projects that are so powerful in pre-ovulation, this is the phase to do like all of the busy work, like get that stuff done before your period and do the analytical things. You're going to be really good at that in this phase. And this again is just kind of, these are general superpowers. You yourself, we are all unique. You are unique. You are going to have your own superpowers during all of these phases, and all of these are going to transition differently in your life. So keep that in mind. But these are things to notice and to start thinking about. In pre-menstruation, you are confident in your authenticity. So you are you. And I put raw down here because I think that's a really beautiful way to describe it. You are your raw essence. You have so much strength in this phase. And when you can start thinking of that, recognizing that strength in your authenticity and your criticality, your sensitivity, and how strong that is, it can be such a beautiful ally. You start becoming more sensitive in this phase, which is, in my perspective, a strength. You feel deeper, but it's also something to watch out for, because sometimes arguments will come up in pre-menstruation because you're feeling things way deeper, and it can be helpful to just write down those things and then argue about them in your like pre-ovulatory phase when you have a more what's the word, when you're, I don't like the term rational and irrational because I don't think that's accurate, but like your brain is thinking in two different ways. Like you're thinking a little bit, you're feeling deeper in your premenstrual phase. So it's helpful when it goes to that like more mental, rational, masculine side in our pre-ovulatory phase. It's helpful to look at it from both lenses before you have that argument. So that can be helpful with conflict resolution. Learning how to resolve conflicts within all the phases of your cycle can be really powerful. And on a different occasion, my partner and I practice these, and we'll come on together and talk about what it's like living in alignment with my cycle, which can be is very helpful. Very, very helpful. So you're more sensitive in this phase. That is so beautiful. Like, use that sensitivity. There's so much strength in it. You can problem detect. Like if you, this is sometimes the phase where if you own your own business, you know exactly what's not going right in your business and what needs to change. You're like able to see it right away. Like, this is a problem. We need to change this. We need to get this under control before I get my period. So it's a fresh start coming out. And I do this in my business. Like, I know when something's not right when I'm in my premenstrual phase, and I can change that. You tell it how it is. So some people can't handle this. Like, some people around you might not like this because you're going to tell things to them straight, but I think this is a huge superpower, because you are able to confront people and be like, this is what is happening, and you're sometimes like have less of a filter in this phase, which can be very powerful, but also watch out, make sure that all of those deliveries are kind, but realize that you are going to be able to say how it is. Yeah. And you're very intuitive in this phase. Your wisdom and your intuition is really blossoming. While you have this we have this stored in our womb throughout all 4 phases of our menstrual cycle. Your pre-menstrual phase and your menstrual phase, you just have this heightened intuition. So this is a really beautiful time to tap into that. Okay, those were all of your superpowers. Oh, I love all of these phases and aligning your life with them. And that is what I do as a womb wisdom guide, is I help you align your life with your phases. So if this is something that interests you, definitely keep this in the back of your mind, because it is so possible to really align your life to feel good and feel supported in how your body is supporting you. Yeah, so all of those phases, I just want to reiterate, all of these phases are very different. And that's what makes them beautiful. Is like, what's more of a superpower than not being the same woman every day? Like, every day we can step into these new characteristics and traits, and there's a time for all of them within the month. And we can be on top of the world, we can be sensitive, we can be intuitive, we can be creative, we can be analytical, we can have time for rest and stress management. It's just like all built into our systems. And when we can listen to it, everything flows so much easier than kind of pushing uphill against it. Okay, things you can do today to really help tap into this cycle. Cycle tracking. And you've maybe heard me talk about this before. Cycle tracking is going to be your best friend. And this works for whether or not you're on a natural menstrual cycle, hormonal birth control, or a moon cycle. This is going to apply for all of them. So if you are having a menstrual cycle, your cycle tracking, you would journal each day, and you'd label each day as cycle day blank. People generally have a 28 to 36 day cycle. That changes depending on who you are. Some people have very short cycles, some people have long cycles. Those are different indications of your hormonal balance, but anywhere around 28 to 36, 38 is normal. I personally have a 33-day cycle. So your cycle day 1 is the first day that you bleed. If you are not experiencing a bleed on hormonal birth control, you would label cycle day 1 as the new moon, and you would be tracking with the moon phases. So cycle day 1 for you would be the new moon, which is the first day of the moon phase calendar. If you are experiencing a bleed, if you're on hormonal birth control and experiencing a bleed, I would recommend like a regular bleed, not one that just shows up every few months. I would recommend doing your cycle day 1, but also tracking with like knowing when the moon is interacting with that. So like when I ovulate, the moon is a new moon. When I menstruate, it's generally around the full moon, and that's fluctuated here and there, but I always have it in the back of my head. So cycle day 1 would be the first day of your bleed, and then you go cycle day 2, 3, 4, ... till the next time you bleed. And then you start it all over again. And each day you want to journal your energy level. Was it super? Was it high? Was it medium? Was it low? You want to jot down how you were feeling, and you want to jot down what you were craving that day. And that may be food, that may be activity, whatever your body was really telling you it needed, it craved. And this can be super fast. This can be like a 5-minute practice where you just jot down all these things in quick notes. This can also be longer, and you can make this into a really beautiful journaling practice where you're journaling for like half an hour and going into detail about your day and how you were feeling. But doing cycle tracking, the purpose of it is you can start noticing similar patterns in your cycle from month to month and create a blueprint for yourself so that you know on cycle day 19, I am not going to be social. I'm going to want to be alone. This is just an example. This is not what you're going to find. Or it might be, but on cycle day 19, you might be feeling really sensitive. You know not to watch a scary movie. You know not to go to a party. You know to do some extra self-care and to plan that into your calendar. Or you may know on cycle day 14, you're at the peak of your energy. You can get it all done. This is the day to schedule all your business meetings. This is the day to get all your projects done, to be social, to go have fun. You know you're going to be able to do it all. So cycle tracking can be so beneficial for finding those patterns, because while our bodies are all different, our bodies themselves have these innate patterns within them within our menstrual cycle that we can tap into, and also within our moon cycle that we can tap into, that we can create a blueprint for ourselves that is so powerful, and so that we can actually learn how to schedule our life around our cycle, to create as little conflicts as possible. And while this may change from month to month, you kind of have a rough idea. And you know, like, this may flow and this may change, but this is generally how I feel around this day. Okay, menstrual cycles. Now we're going on to your moon cycle. The moon is so powerful. I love the moon so much. Okay, so the moon phases are the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, and the waning moon. So how these work is these can be related, just like we related our menstrual cycle to the earth seasons, the moon phases can also be related to our menstrual cycle. So it's believed that centuries, millennium ago, that all, like, women who were in tribes would all menstruate at the same time. And now I'm saying that this is believed because we have very little record of women through history, especially women's menstrual cycle, and anything to do with their periods or what their period care was like or anything like that. And it is one of our, unfortunately, we don't have those written records. They were never written down, but we do have some evidence here and there. So it is believed that women, especially like through traditions and all of that, it's believed that women all bled together at the new moon, which is the dark sky. So if you think of menstruation as this time for rest, and you think of the new moon, which is when there's no light, when you can't see the moon in the sky, when it's the dark sky, this is also the time for rest. So you can compare the new moon and menstruation together. And then the waxing moon, which comes right after the new moon, is your pre-ovulation phase. The full moon is related to ovulation, and the waning moon is then, the waning moon is then related to premenstruation. So this does not mean that your menstrual cycle is going to align with these phases. And like I said, mine has aligned with these in the past, and now I'm the flip. Now I menstruate on the full moon and ovulate on the new moon. But the reason that we kind of make these connections is they're kind of archetypal connections, but it's also important to realize that whatever phases you're experiencing in your own menstrual cycle, how they align with the moon is going to change how you feel in them. So if you are bleeding on the new moon, it's going to feel very different from bleeding on the full moon. The full moon has this heightened energy in the air that's going to feel very different when you're bleeding. So it can be fun to just kind of track that and see how it affects you and how your body feels at these times. when I am ovulating on the full moon, it is way too much energy for me, and I usually have a day where I'm just like broke down crying. So like I just cannot handle the energy moving through my body. That is not only my own energy, but also the moon's energy. When I'm bleeding on the full moon, I can handle that energy a lot better. So you're just gonna feel different things. And some people just feel on top of the world at that when they're ovulating on the full moon, and that is amazing. So it's just fun to see what your unique body is telling you. Okay, so what do the moon cycles teach us? So the new moon teaches us that there is a time for rest, there's a time to turn in, and for setting new intentions. And that is exactly what we do at the new moon, is we set new intentions for the next month. So like I said, how menstruation is like the beginning of your cycle, the new moon is the beginning of the moon cycle. So when tracking with the moon phases, it's so powerful to be able to utilize the powers that we get in each moon phase, the ability to rest, the ability to set new intentions, and just having the moon and the sky be this constant reminder to us that there's a time for everything and there's a place for everything. And that the new moon is just this beautiful time to take a little bit more time for yourself and rest. The waxing moon can teach us that each day is a new day, and we are always growing and moving through phases just like the moon is. We are not going to be the same person every single day, and that is totally okay. I think that life would probably get very boring if we were the same person every day. But we're constantly growing in our life, right? We're constantly changing, and as the moon influences us, the moon's energy, as our menstrual cycles influence us, just think of how powerful it is to be always flowing in that new changing energy and being able to bring something new to each day. That may be needing to rest, that may be needing to be productive, and each one is beautiful. So, and I might also preface all of this with the moon phase. The moon has such powerful energy. If you think of how the moon's gravitational pull affects the tides and how the moon's energy affects the ocean, just think of like our bodies are made up of like primarily water. Like just think if it's affecting the tides so extremely, it's also affecting our bodies and ourselves and our energy. So just acknowledging that the moon does have an energetic pull on us is already so powerful, just to acknowledge that. And whether we acknowledge it or not doesn't change that it's there and that we are going to feel it. But when we acknowledge it, we can start learning to work with it instead of fighting against it. So the full moon teaches us that there's a time to be on top of the world with high energy, celebrating ourselves and nature, shining light on our shadows, which can be really powerful, that we can then release at the new moon, and manifesting our dreams into reality. Like just think of this heightened energy. So manifesting is the act of kind of surrendering whatever you want to the universe, but taking the actionable steps to get it. So the steps to manifesting are deciding very clearly what you want, writing it down, declaring that this is what I want to the universe and asking the universe to deliver it, and then taking the actionable steps that you find and see and that are brought to you to reach that goal. And it's a beautiful way of setting goals and allowing the universe to help you with the timeline of them, but knowing that you will reach all of them. And the full moon is a great time to do that in that heightened energy. And then the waning moon teaches us like the moon, we don't always need to stay in the high energy state every day. There's a time to wind down, to prepare to rest, and to live sustainably in our bodies. And I don't mean sustainably as in like buying sustainable products to save the earth. I mean living sustainably in a way that our lifestyle can carry us through every month in a way that we don't burn out. And the moon teaches us that in order to do that, we are ever changing. We do have a cycle, and by embracing that cycle, we can be sustainable and work with our body and how it can support us, which I just think is so beautiful. The moon teaches us so much. So what you can do to start tapping into the moon phases is you can start observing. Like, how do you feel at the new moon? How do you feel at the full moon? Start journaling about it each time and just see any patterns that come up of how your body feels. And then you can join the Divine Feminine community. If you're not already a part of this, this is our free private Facebook group that I created for all of us to really help us tap into our divine energy, our divine feminine energy. And that flow state of flowing with the moon phases and flowing with our menstrual cycle is your feminine energy, being able to just flow, surrender, and work with your body. And the reason I say join the Divine Feminine community is that every month we do moon circles. So we do a new moon circle and a full moon circle. Both of these look very different. During the new moon circle, we're kind of turning in a bit more. We're setting new intentions. We're meditating. During the full moon circle, just wait, if you haven't attended one yet, they're going to be fun. We do like a dance party. We also meditate, but we like celebrate ourselves. We do journaling prompts, but they look very different. Instead of saying new intentions, they're more celebratory. We do a gratitude practice. And we really embrace the two energies of the moon. So joining us for those moon circles are a way that you can hold space for yourself to align your life with the moon phases. To take an hour or an hour and a half to gather with amazing and inspiring individuals, to hold space for yourself and others as you reconnect to the moon phases. It's a very easy way to get started, and it's so much fun. I love leading them. I can't wait for the full moon circle, which is in like 2 weeks, coming up soon. Okay, Mother Nature. So we looked at the moon phases, we looked at our menstrual cycle. Like I said before, if you are on hormonal birth control, you'll want to track with the moon phases if you're not experiencing a bleed, or if you're just in your life, you're not experiencing a bleed, go ahead and track with the moon phases like we talked about in the menstruation section. And all of those kind of traits of like the moon phases of what they all mean and their intentions, and we can kind of start bringing in the characteristics of our menstrual phases into tracking with the moon cycle as well. And just being aware of how our unique body feels in each of the moon phases and then creating a blueprint from there. Okay, Mother Nature. So grounding back to nature. So in this time right now, I really wanted to stress this, that right now is such a powerful time to ground back into nature during COVID-19. And we've already seen so much of nature is healing herself in this time when all of us have been more isolated. And she's really calling to us right now to come back to her. Sometimes we can get very distracted in our life and not take the time to sit in nature and to hear her call and feel her presence. And this is really her calling out to us and being like, now's the time to come back to me. Now I'm giving you the space to do so. And grounding back into nature can look like so many different things. It can look like grounding back into our menstrual cycle, like we just talked about, because our menstrual cycle, like we saw, mimics nature's seasons. And our womb is our direct connection to Mother Nature and to the ground. If you think of how we birth, we not only create, like our creative wisdom not only comes from our womb, but like we birth life. We birth children from our womb. Just like Mother Earth and Mother Nature births life every spring. How everything grows and is nourished in Mother Nature, that is, we can see that resemblance in our womb and in nature. And our womb wisdom is a direct connection to nature itself. So really grounding into our menstrual cycle can be so powerful in reconnecting to the earth to begin with. Learning how to work with our moon cycle is another way to really ground into Mother Earth. We're grounding into nature, into the universe, into the cosmos, into Earth, and learning how to navigate our life with the moon can be so powerful for learning how to really turn back into the earth and understand all of the forces that are affecting us. Meditation. So one of my number one things to help you ground back into Mother Nature is to start a meditation practice. And I want to stress that meditation looks like so many different things. The term meditation, the definition of it is the retraining of your attention through a consistent practice and through focusing on one focal point. And this can look like so many different things. This can look like mindfulness meditations, where maybe you're just in the shower washing your hair and you just allow yourself to observe how it feels to wash your hair or brush your teeth. And you just like really bring your presence to the moment and observe how it feels to be in that moment. Meditation can be a breathing meditation where you bring your focus to your breath and just allow yourself to breathe. And we'll do a meditation after this webinar, just a quick one to get into our bodies. But just to breathe and understand how we feel. That can be a body scan meditation where we kind of scan our whole body to see where we're holding tension. This could be a walking meditation. You can be moving. It could be yoga. Yoga is a form of meditation. You can do an eating meditation where you just bring all of your awareness to the food. You can do a smiling meditation where you're bringing your awareness to smiling. Like there's just so many different types of meditation. But what it does is it brings you back to the present moment. It brings you back to yourself and to your body, out of your mind and really into the present. out of your mind, out of the future, out of the past, and doing regrounding meditations where you're just really focusing, and these can also be visual, like visual meditations where you're really focusing on re-grounding into the earth and her presence and just listening in the present moment to whatever comes up is so powerful, and like getting out of your head and into your intuition. Spending time in nature is the next way that you can ground back into nature so powerfully. Just sitting in nature, and I really encourage you to sit, like not even like on a towel, just sit directly on the ground. But like if you would prefer to like sit on something, go for it. But just feeling like the power underneath you, just realizing how earth is always supporting us is so powerful. Just being out in nature, especially now when we're all kind of cooped up inside, getting out, taking a walk, going to the park can be so amazing. Benefits of grounding. So why are we talking about any of this to begin with? Like, why do we want to ground during this time? What are the benefits of doing all of this? What is the benefits of aligning our life with our cycle, the moon cycle, regrounding into nature? The first one is it balances your root chakra. So if you're familiar with your chakra system, you have 7 main energy systems moving throughout your body. And this is used not only like in yoga, this is used in traditional Chinese medicine, this is what acupuncture uses, this is what Reiki uses. We have these energy currents flowing through our body, and all of these centers also align with our nerve centers as well. So they all also have the kind of this abstract idea of energy moving through our body also has a correlation to the biology of our body. But your root chakra is your sacrum, or your lower back, your tailbone area. And this is your chakra for stability. This is your chakra that expresses fear. This is your survival instincts. So this is like the root, the base. So when your survival instincts are, when your survival is threatened, this chakra gets very unbalanced. And right now our survival has been very threatened with coronavirus. And a lot of us are having a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and all this is coming from that imbalance in the root chakra. So grounding down into nature, just allowing yourself to be in the present, grounding down, working with your menstrual cycle, coming back into your body instead of being out everywhere in your mind can help balance that root chakra. And it allows your parasympathetic nervous system to kick in. So your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest response. So while your fight or flight response might be on right now and in kind of this constant state of anxiety, grounding back into the earth and grounding into your cycles can help bring the parasympathetic nervous system back up and more prominent, which is your ability to rest and your body to come back into like homeostasis instead of being constantly with adrenaline pushing through it. Benefits of grounding, the other one is it teaches us how to surrender. Like while there's a lot we can control in our own lives and how we spend this time, we can't control what happens around the world. And grounding into the moon cycle, into our menstrual cycle, into the earth really teaches us this element of surrendering all of our fear, all of our anxiety back into the ground that is ready to take it from us. She is ready to take all of that anxiety and fill us up with love. And surrendering into our body's natural flow and learning how to work with it and not against it, surrendering into the moon phases. All of this teaches us this beautiful presence of surrender that lifts that anxiety off of our shoulders. Benefits of grounding. Our cycles give us a built-in structure and stability during this time of instability and uncertainty. So while we're trying to navigate this time, a lot of our structures have been broken down in our lives, where a lot of us are working from home. We no longer have that daily structure that we were used to. Learning how to work with our menstrual cycle and the moon cycle gives us a new structure, a structure that's already built into our body, already built into the universe. These structures that are already influencing and affecting our energy levels. By learning how to work with them, we are giving ourselves this new stability and this new structure in our life. We know what to look to each month. We know how to work with the moon phases. We know how things change. We know that things are always constantly starting over in the new cycle. And we have this structure that's not only can we learn how to structure our lives around and our schedules around, but we can also learn how to surrender to that structure and know that it is benefiting us, which will give us stability and will give us grounding. So if you're feeling very unstable and uncertain in the structure of your life right now, these are beautiful structures to come back to and to put back into place. Grounding brings our awareness to oneness and our connection to nature and to each other. So really learning how to ground into nature through your menstrual cycle, the moon cycles, meditation, it does bring our awareness that we're all in this together. It does bring our awareness that our energy is connected to everyone around us. Right now, just being here, you are sharing my energy with me, and you are transmitting your energy to me, and I'm transmitting my energy to you. Everyone around us is being affected by our energy. So just bringing our awareness to that through meditation, through our cycles, through the moon cycles, we realize how we're all sharing in this collective prana, or universal energy, and how amazing that is. And also just knowing that lifting up our spirits and our own energy can lift up so many around us. And we all have this connection. We are all connected to nature. Like I said, our wombs are directly connected to nature. Our energy is directly connected to nature. We are living here on this planet, and we are influencing each other. Oops, one more. We can access and tap into our intuition on a deep guided level in order to make choices that are really right for us and our family in this moment, not choices backed by fear. So this is, I feel, one of the most important parts of grounding into nature, grounding into our cycles, is that we learn from understanding and reflecting on our body during our menstrual cycle and how it affects us. We learn by working with the moon phases, and we learn by meditating how to tap into our intuition, how to turn off that chitter chatter in our brain and just learn how to tap into and listen to our gut instinct. And right now, while, like we said, a lot of those structures that we are used to are out of place, we are creating from intuition right now. We are creating from instinct. We don't have the structures in place to handle what we're going through. So we need to trust our gut that it is leading us in the right direction, and it always is. Your intuition is this force beyond what we can really comprehend, but this inner knowing that just knows the right thing. And if you get that gut instinct, you know what I'm talking about. So this learning how to reground into all of these systems that heighten your intuition, that kind of bring you back to your body, and your intuition does live in your body. So learning how to live in alignment with your body and with the forces affecting it, and meditating and getting out of your head and just into your body through meditation to just get still and get silent so you can listen to that intuition coming through. That's going to help you make very smart decisions at this time, because you're coming from a place of deep knowing, instead of a place backed by fear. So reconnecting to your menstrual cycle, aligning your life with the moon phases, meditating, being still and silent, all of this is going to help you tap into your intuition. Okay, so how do we reground into the earth? What are the things we can do right now? Just taking a moment to just be with nature and listen to the sounds around you. Bring your awareness to the ground beneath you and the loving support of nature. Just thinking, we do such terrible things to nature all the time, and she is still there with unconditional love, ready to take all of our anxiety away. She is the embodiment of unconditional love in our lives. She is always there for us, and she is here for us right now as well. She's always there right beneath our feet, helping us stand, helping us stay grounded, and she's giving us a solid ground to stand on. And right now, she's really offering that to us, a solid ground to stand on through everything that we're dealing with right now with COVID-19. And you can do this. You can do grounding meditations. You can reconnect to all of your cycles. There's so many different ways to do this. You can just spend some time out in nature. I'm going to send you all a grounding and love meditation, and if you're already part of the Divine Feminine community, you can access it on our Facebook page as well. But I'm going to be emailing it out with this recording, so I believe it's like 7 minutes, just to really tap into the ground and the earth's energy and fill yourself up with that light, and it can be so powerful. It's one of my favorite meditations. And it can be a beautiful way to hold space for you to really ground into Earth's energy and allow yourself to receive. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation of the 4 phases of our cycle, how all this can support us through COVID-19, Mother Nature, the moon phases. And I just wanted to show you a few offerings that I have right now in case this excited you, all the information here, in case you wanted to dive deeper. So I'm holding 45-minute grounding meditation sessions right now, and these are usually $100. But in light of everything that's happening with coronavirus, in light of everything that's happening with the economy, I do want to make this affordable. and I want to make this something that you can invest in and hold space for yourself. So I'm going to be discounting it for a while to help make it a bit more accessible to more people. So it's going to be $75 for a private one-on-one session with me. And the benefits of okay, I'll say the benefits after we actually go into what this is. So a 45-minute grounding meditation session with me is there to hold space for a vibration of love and support. So we really just hold this container for this vibration of love and support. We release any fear and anxiety. We ground into the earth's supportive energy, and we tap into your womb space and or intuition, depending on your biology, so that you can open to receive downloads from within regarding how to support yourself and others through this time. So everything that we just talked about, we tap into during these sessions. And included in the session is a personalized meditation. And the beautiful thing about that is that after we're talking for a bit and talking about what works right for you, I customize the meditation for you so that you can get the most out of it. And I also let my intuition lead to see what downloads come in for what can be beneficial for you in the moment. And this can be so powerful than just doing a recorded meditation because it is personalized and customized for you. We do an oracle card reading, and you get a recording of the session. So you get a recording of the full session, you get a recording of the meditation, so you can do it as many times as you wish or watch this as many times as you would like. And we really hold space for you to release, which is so beautiful. Sometimes we don't hold enough space for ourselves in our lives, and it can be very helpful for someone else to hold that space for us so that we can fully release, fully come back to a vibration of love, and tap into our intuition and help guide us in finding the things that our gut and our intuition are guiding us to. So we do all of that in this session. So I love these. These are new to everything that's happening in the world right now, a new offering for me that just felt so aligned with what we need. I also offer a 75-minute menstrual clarity session. So if everything about your menstrual cycle really got you excited, these are usually $175, but again, in light of everything, I really want these to be a little bit more accessible. I want these to be something that you can afford and that you can do and that you can feel good about, because I totally understand the financial strain that some of us are going through right now, and I want to help in as many ways as I can. So now they're going to be $98. These are also one-on-one sessions. So this session is designed to create more flow and abundance in your unique cycle and awaken your cyclical power with one-on-one personalized guidance. And it's intended to support you in working with your body, resolving blocks in your menstrual experience, and fostering a positive relationship with either your moon cycle or your period or both. So I do these if you're on hormonal birth control, and we kind of align more with the moon phases and understand that and how that relates to your body more. We do this with natural menstrual cycles. Whatever your body is needing right now, we kind of dive into that, whatever you're seeking clarity on within your body and within your experience, your cyclical experience. So included is a personalized live meditation. Again, so powerful when we do this in person. We do this at the end of these sessions. So we have all of this beautiful information and we pull all of that into the meditation that we feel you need at the time. We do an oracle card reading. You get the personalized tools and sacred space that you need to reconnect to your unique cycle, step into your divine feminine, and awaken your intuition. And like I said before, holding that space for yourself is so powerful, and allowing someone else to guide you and hold you through that space is so powerful. Just is so beautiful. I can't even begin to explain how beautiful that experience is from my side, and it would be for your side as well. And you get a recording of the session. So just like the other one, you get a recording of your meditation and all of that, so you have access to it at any time. So if either of these offers excite you, if any of them feel so right and feel so good, please reach out to me. These are going to be updated on my website soon, but in the meantime, I just encourage you to reach out to me over Instagram, over email, over Facebook, whatever feels right for you, just saying that you're interested in this. I'll send you all the information and we can talk about it a little bit more and hop on a call. These can be so powerful and just getting you started on this journey. And in a way that you don't need to make a big commitment for. You don't need to make a 3-month commitment to start this journey. You can start it today, and you can start it in 75 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever feels right for you. And we kind of get you going, which can be so powerful. And I'm so passionate about what I do and about all of these offerings, and I really want to share them with you. So I highly encourage you to consider them and to take a moment and reflect and see if any of them are right for you. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. and for your presence and for just being here and sharing your energy, whether that was live or whether you're watching the recording. It was such a pleasure sharing my energy with you, sharing all of this information, which is so powerful. And if you have any questions, I'm going to leave a Q&A open for a few minutes after this if you have any questions. And if you're watching this over the recording and you have questions, please don't hesitate to email me. Like I said, email, reach out via Instagram DM, Facebook message me, comment on something on Facebook, any medium that you choose, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always here to offer information. And you can find my website at liliageston.com. My Instagram is lilia_geston. And please join my private Facebook group. There's so many benefits to us, to the Divine Feminine community. We do moon circles every new moon and full moon. You get exclusive content and exclusive offers through this group. We have a bunch of meditations on there. We are starting conversations. It's a beautiful group to be a part of. So if it's calling to you, again, don't hesitate to reach out and ask to join it, and I'll approve your request as soon as possible. But I just want to reiterate, after talking about all of these, tapping into your instinct is so important. Tapping into those like little nudges that are calling you can be so powerful. And I encourage you, no matter what direction you go in with your menstrual cycle, with the moon phases, if you decide to take any of this information and apply it to your life, or if you're just curious about it, I invite you to listen to the calls. Listen to whatever is calling your heart right now, whether that is aligning your life with your cycle, whether that is exploring your menstrual cycle or the moon phases more, whether that is joining the Divine Feminine community, whether that is hopping on a call with me for a grounding meditation session or for a menstrual clarity call, or whether that is going to a different resource and learning even more information. Whatever your intuition is calling you to do, I encourage you to listen, because it will never send you astray, and we all need different things. So it is so powerful for you to be able to tap into what you need. And I would love to support you in that process of finding what you need and what feels good to you. And that's what I'm here for. So I'd love to be able to guide you in that process. And let's see if I can stop sharing this. And thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, I am here to support you in any way that you are feeling called and that you are seeking support in. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love you all. Thank you for sharing your energy with me and for coming on this beautiful webinar and joining me today in this webinar. It was so much fun getting this ready for you guys and actually presenting it to you. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. Mwah. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. See you.